Well, good afternoon, Thomas. It's good to see you today on this estate planning awareness week. Kind of getting into the wire, I think, on that, but figured as
Absolutely. Got to get it in by the end of Friday.
figured by what we do, we probably should talk about that a little bit and see what's going on in the world of estate planning.
Absolutely. It's National Estate Planning Week. I think I've also seen that it is National Preacher or Pastor Appreciation Week as well, or month. I think the pastors and the preachers took the month of October, and we just get the week, but we got to take advantage of the week that we get. So we got to do a podcast on National Estate Planning Week.
Is there some similarity there? Like we're both trying to get people ready to go with these end of life decisions and inability.
That's right. That's right.
Well, good. Well, it's kind of fun because I think during the week we get to meet with different folks and address some of the challenges that arise in the estate planning context. And more you're seeing just different questions about how to deal with the incapacities or even the inconveniences that can happen during life, and such that powers of attorney may be helpful and those kind of things, which kind of gave me some questions about, what are some of the other avenues of estate planning that folks may not consider that are options for them other than kind of a normal will or a trust-based plan.
Yeah, the first answer that comes to mind is a transfer on death deed. I think some people are already familiar with the idea of transfer on death or paid on death accounts. When you set up your IRA or 401k or any other investment account, typically the financial advisor has you fill out beneficiary designations. And because those beneficiary designations are in place for those investment accounts, that account is no longer a probate transfer. Upon death, the asset goes directly to whoever has been named in the beneficiary designation form. What's less commonly known is that you can do that with your checking and savings accounts at your bank. And you can go ahead and name, usually your kids to be the beneficiaries of your checking or savings account. And then that makes it so that that's not a probate transfer. And so you avoid probate that way. That may be commonly known as well for some people. But then there's also, to kind of complete that type of planning, you can do a transfer on death deed for your real estate. And so it's basically like filling out a quitclaim deed or what have you, same type of recording requirements. But it basically says that the real estate continues to be yours while you're living, but upon death, it transfers to, and then fill in the blank, whoever your beneficiaries are going to be. And the advantage of doing that, as opposed to just kind of relying on the will to transfer that, is you don't have any probate process at all. You don't have to probate the will to kind of cite to the record of where the will was probated and inform everybody all over the world where your real estate is supposed to go. Instead, you can just do a transfer on death deed, and then upon death, all you have to do is file an affidavit with the recorder's office, and that's it. That's all you got to do. It's just one simple, basic form that estate planning attorneys can help you out with. So that's the main tip that I have for people today, is to think about doing a transfer on death deed if they're already doing these transfer on death beneficiary designations for their other accounts. What do you think about that, Seth?
Yeah, and again, in the right circumstance, all these tools can come into play. And so it does require sort of that overall analysis of the estate and what the needs may be. And one thing I'm always cognizant of, and I'm sure you think this through as well, is if I do a transfer on death monetary account and move those funds out of the estate automatically, did I leave anything left to cover any estate expenses that may be there? And so you want to just kind of make sure as that overall plan that each of the assets then are taken care of so that there's limited type of cost to close up during probate when that event occurs. And so that's one thing to always consider is, hey, these things happen automatically, but there are sometimes some unintended consequences. And that's why it's really good to meet with an estate planning lawyer to kind of talk through those issues, and gain some insight into the facts of your specific situation based on the experience of that lawyer.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, a lot of people are concerned about avoiding probate, and they kind of hear horror stories about how it can go, and it can go horribly from time to time. But the transfer on death strategy, if you will, it works if everybody does well. If everybody is healthy, not, they don't have an event where they become disabled, they don't have creditors that could attach to the property that they're going to inherit. Those are kind of the two main pitfalls of the transfer on death strategy. So you can kind of accomplish the same goal, but then protect the asset better when you have it in a trust rather than a transfer on death strategy, transfer on death deed. So I think that's the tip on this National Estate Planning Week.
Yeah.
And
I think that's great. I think one of the things that you and I both practice, so to speak, in our practices is really helping individuals and families understand what the options are, give them information about what the law allows, and then help them accomplish their goals through that. And this is one great vehicle and tool to use as you're thinking through how to transfer assets upon death. And this can also be beneficial sometimes if you have real estate in multiple jurisdictions where you may need things to happen automatically versus opening probate in multiple states, for example, so that if the jurisdiction where the property is located has that capability, and you can hire a lawyer in that state to do the transfer on death deed, sometimes that can help facilitate an easier administration when the time comes as well. So lots of different things, obviously, and questions to answer, but appreciate your time today, kind of coming through and talking through a little bit about what that transfer on death deed looks like. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of this little bit rainy day here in Indiana.
Yeah, absolutely. I see the rain coming down over your shoulder in Noblesville, Indiana, and it's probably the same here in Greenwood, but I don't have nearly as good a view as you do of the dreariness outside.
There you go. There you
All
go.
right.
Hey, when it's sunny, I get it. When it's rainy, I get it, right? So you
That's
gotta
right.
take the good with the bad.
That's right.
Hey,
Thanks, Seth.
good to see you. We'll talk to you soon.